Let's get down to business. We're going to actually open an Etsy shop today. This is episode 7 of my How to Start an Etsy Shop in 2023 series. So before this, we talked about most of the things you need to know before you actually open a shop or start selling things. Today I'm going to take you through exactly how to set up your actual shop. So we're not doing listings today, but your shop and how it's set up is actually important. Bare minimum, you need to have a lot of things filled out in your actual shop page, or you automatically won't rank as well in the Etsy search or get recommended as often because your shop is incomplete. So this is very important. Don't skip ahead. If you have already opened a shop, make sure you pay attention to the things you need to have filled out just in case you don't have them filled out. Trust me, it will help. So I am recording my screen and going to do the little make sure I'm synced up so you can see what I'm talking about here. Okay, so it says, welcome to Etsy, Abby. I have already signed into my account. I would strongly suggest to use a separate business email that has your shop name or your desired shop name as the email address, even if it's on Gmail. That way it's totally separate from your personal things and you get emails to a business email instead of your personal one. So this is what it's going to look like when you make a brand new account. This is not personalized to me. If I were to go into my actual shop account, it would be personalized to things that I have searched for before. So that's not really important right now. What we're going to do is click on this icon right here, the little shop for the store thingy. And you click on let's do this and see underneath of here it says by clicking let's do this and opening an Etsy shop, you're agreeing to our seller policy and the Etsy payments policy in addition to our terms of use and privacy policy. I would strongly recommend to read through the seller policy and the Etsy payments policy just in case, because some people don't read those, or the Etsy seller handbook, which is another thing. If you're like, where do you get all of your information? The Etsy seller handbook, which you can link to either through Google or once you open a shop, you can click on it from your shop manager. Some articles on the seller handbook are a bit outdated because things have changed, but for the most part, there's some good information. The account that I'm using now is my Type 9 Studio account, so a lot of people think that Type 9 Studio is my actual Etsy shop that is like my primary source of income. Type 9 Studio has, like, the name has nothing to do with my shop, so I already had the Type 9 Studio account on here because I thought about doing a shop with that, but so this is going to be a brand new fresh account. This is all what you're going to see for when you make an account for the very first time, so hopefully that's clear. What brings you to Etsy will help guide you to success, whether you're a pro or brand new to selling. I honestly don't know if this matters. I don't think this is going to change anything. I think it's just for their analytics. So I'm going to skip this question. There are some options you can pick. Is there anything you'd like help with, like deciding what to sell, shop naming and branding, selling online, taking photos, all that stuff? If you watch my channel, then you have this information already, but I'm going to skip this question because I do not need these. Now time for the fun part. We'll walk you through creating your shop and filling it with items. So of course, make sure these are applicable to your country. Since I'm in the US and you use US dollars, I'm going to use those. So now it's asking me to name my shop, and this, I would strongly suggest to make your username the same as what you want your shop name to be, because on some things later on, it will show up as your username even though you pick a new shop name. And you can also, like it says here, you can change it later, but it will still revert back to your username. Like when you log in or if somebody clicks on your profile, they can see your username. And if you buy something from another shop through this profile, it will show them your username as your username, not your shop name. It's not a huge deal. Mine is definitely different because I changed my shop name, but just something to keep in mind if you want everything to be the same. So the first thing it wants you to do is create a listing. I don't think I can skip. Nope. Okay, so looks like you have to have a listing. I think I'm just gonna put something random in there because I am not trying to actually set up a shop myself. But if you want to go ahead and add a listing, you can do that. I'm going to go more in depth about this page later on in the next few videos. Go through each step, like how to make a title, how to take photos, how to write the description, all that stuff. So don't worry about it right now. Just kind of fill it in and make sure that you delete it or don't publish it if you just fill in gibberish. Okay, I picked a photo of a dress that I made that I have no intention of selling because it was a pain in the butt to make it, but just putting something there that I made because I feel weird just picking a random photo. Anyways, so I will see what else I need. What's a title? Dress. Don't pay attention to what I'm doing here. Do not just sell something called dress. I just have to fill something out to get rid of this. $1,000. If somebody paid me $1,000, I might make that dress again, but... So this is new, actually, because my listings now don't have this. So return policy, I'm just going to pick the default one. It doesn't matter because this is not real. Save and continue, see if it lets me... See, like, please read the things that Etsy is telling you to do, because right here it says, consider adding a few more listings. 5 is a good start. This gives buyers more chances to find your shop. That's exactly what I've been telling you. I'm not making it up. Etsy themselves says that more is more chances to find your shop. That's exactly what I said. So do that. So I'm going to click on do this later, but if you want to go ahead and do your listings at this point, feel free. Now it wants to know how I will get paid. So for tax purposes, what type of seller are you? Etsy will use this to verify your information. This will not affect the status of your Etsy shop in any way and is just for us to know. So you're probably going to be the individual category. Ooh, I cannot do this on camera. So I'm going to do this off camera. Basically, you'll just fill in these questions. I shouldn't have to explain. So this is going to take you to Plaid to verify your bank account. So basically, you'll log into your bank account through this like secure connection thing, and that's how it will both verify your identity and how you will get paid. So once you connect your bank account with Plaid, then you can pick how often you want it to deposit. I pick every week, but it doesn't really matter, whatever you want. I think every day is too much unless you sell like a lot. Because what's going to happen is if you do it too often, you're going to end up like paying the fees, because if you don't make a sale, you're going to owe the listing fees. So making it less frequent is going to give you more time to get sales to cover the fees instead of taking it out of your bank account. Then it wants you to set up your billing, so they want to make sure they get paid as well. So you're going to add your credit card. This can be a debit card. Mine's a debit card. It's fine. But it does look like you do have to pay the 20 cents for that first listing, so keep that in mind. And you can always change it. You're not going to have to pay another 20 cents if you change it. Like if you did gibberish or something random like I did just now, you can change it to an actual listing and it's not going to charge you again. So I'm going to pause this recording, fill out this information, and then click save and continue. Next, it's going to have you set up two-factor authentication. Please, please, please do this on any website that offers it, but also especially Etsy, because there is the payment stuff. This is an extra layer of protection for in case your account gets hacked or information is compromised, so on and so forth. I don't think I've had this happen with my Etsy shop, knock on wood, but if you are as old as I am, been on the internet for as long as I have, then you probably had this happen at least a dozen times where somebody in another country tries to get into your account. This will stop them. So you can pick from a text message, a phone call, or an authenticator app. Then it's going to give you backup codes just in case you have to change phone numbers for whatever reason and can't access your device. So I would strongly suggest to write these down and keep them in a safe place, because storing them on your computer is not a good idea either. Click on open your shop. Okay, I'm going to go to my listings real quick just to make sure that one is private. So I'm going to deactivate, yeah, I deactivated that listing just to make sure that it doesn't show up anywhere. Nobody's going to buy it probably, but just in case, I don't want it to be seen. Okay, so here is what the page looks like once you create your shop. So this is what's referred to as the shop manager. You can see the options to do here on the left. And I'm going to show you some things to do that are not listed on this handy little guide to getting started, because they don't list everything on there. And I would suggest to get the new Etsy Seller app. It is a lot better than the old app to manage your listings and things. So we'll go through each of these steps on the left-hand side. So the shop manager, if you click on that, your only options are to go to the shop manager or to Etsy Marketplace. If you click on that, that's just going to take you back to Etsy.com where you can shop for other things. The search, you just click on that to search for something that you need. The dashboard is where we are now, so you'll be able to see your stats overview and just important things, how many listings you have, and if people start favoriting or leaving reviews and stuff, they will show up in the recent activity. And if we click on listings, that will show all the listings you have. So I have that one that is inactive over here. And every now and then you'll get these little pop-up things that give you tips or things that you can do to improve your shop. Most of the time they are helpful. So I would strongly suggest to do the free shipping guarantee. So that will be free shipping on orders 35 and up. I'll talk about that more in a future video all about shipping, but if you want to think ahead, I would strongly suggest to do that and adjust your prices accordingly. So even if you have to make it a little bit more expensive to be able to offer the free shipping, I would do that because most people prefer it anyways. This is where you'd be able to see all of your listings and then filter them by ones that are active, ones that are drafts, if they've expired, sold out, and so on. And then when you add a new listing, it's up here on the top right. Then we'll go over to messages. So I don't have any messages, obviously, but you want to make sure that you answer all messages. The first message from each customer within 24 hours to account for the Etsy star seller. And they have changed some things. I know when it first came out, like it was over a year ago, it was a bit of a mess, but they have made some good adjustments. So before it was like things were separate, and if the same customer messaged you different times, you had to, like in different threads, you would have to respond to the different threads within 24 hours, but now it'll group them all into the same thread, so a bit better there. Then next is orders and shipping. So since I don't have any orders right here, it just has this blank page. So I personally use a third-party website to do my shipping, but if you're just starting out, you don't need to do that. I would just use the labels on Etsy, especially if you're in the US. It's the same price on Etsy and ShipStation and Pirate Ship and wherever else you would buy labels. Again, I will go over this in a future video all about shipping, but don't buy shipping at the post office because it takes longer and it costs more money, so don't do it. Next one is the star seller. So this is going to give you your status or your progress, I suppose, about being eligible for star seller. So there is a minimum number of orders of 5 and then $300 minimum of sales. I think they have lowered that as well, but you're not eligible for it until 90 days after you make your first sale. So you can't like just right out the bat, right out the gate, whatever that saying is. You can't just right out the gate be eligible for star seller. You have to wait a little bit. And then if you have questions about that, there are answers to that toward the bottom of that page. And now for the stats page, there's probably nothing here. No. Obviously, because it's a new shop. This is where you will see your stats. I keep an eye on these like at least once a week. Every day gets a little bit too obsessive, but like about once a week I will check these. So you can filter it by today, yesterday, the last 7 days, last 30 days, and so on. I mainly use this to compare to like last week or last month or even last year to see kind of what trends are going to be coming up. So the visits are how many people have viewed your shop. So let me straighten this out here because there's views and there's visits and they're different. If you go back to the dashboard, it will separate out your views and your visits. So the total views are how many times your listings were seen. So if 5 people go in and look at 5 of your listings each, that would be 25 views. But for this visits, that is like one person looking at your shop is 1 visit. So if I go to your shop and look at 10 different listings, it's only going to be 1 visit, but it'll be 10 views. Hopefully that makes sense because I also get it backwards sometimes. And then your orders is obviously going to be the number of orders you have. And your conversion rate is going to be basically the visits, or take that back. Your conversion rate is your orders divided by your number of visits. So if you have 1 order and 100 visits, that's going to be a 1% conversion rate. Or if you somehow have 10 orders and 100 visits, that'll be a 10% conversion rate. And then of course your revenue is just how many total dollar amount of sales you have had. That includes fees and shipping and stuff. So that is, I think, does revenue include? Oh God, I wish I could see my account. Revenue though is before they take the fees out. I know that for sure. I'm not sure if it includes shipping. But I am very, very frequently asked what is a good conversion rate. Anything over 1%. Solid. Okay, that's like general for e-commerce on the internet. Anything as a whole, 1% is good. Less than 1%, yeah. Over 1% is great. So aim for over 1%. But if you're just starting out, it can take a while to get there, so don't get too stressed if you've only been doing it for like a couple months. Okay, then below that little chart is this section, how shoppers found you. So you can click down here to get a further description of them. Basically, it's just how many people that Etsy brought versus how many people you brought through like linking your shop or your social media or paying for Etsy ads. So for almost everyone, the bulk majority of your visits are going to come from the Etsy app and other Etsy pages and not actually from Etsy search. Because the majority of customers do shop on the app versus on a computer, so that's going to show up in the Etsy app section. You can actually click on these. I don't know if it'll tell me. Okay. So if you click on the Etsy app and other Etsy pages, it'll show you here. It'll even show you a graph, but this is probably not going to be useful for a while, but just so you know it's here. And then you can also, after a while, you'll start seeing which terms people are using to find your shop, which is helpful. For me, at least, I have found new products to create based on these terms. Like if somebody searches for something that I don't have, then I can add that thing that I don't have. As long as it fits and is relevant, of course. And it will even show you how many people are referred from each social media. They need to get on it and put TikTok on here. I don't know why. There's a lot of places that you can link social media accounts, like the providers that I use for my email services and other places, and they don't have TikTok. Like, come on. It's the biggest social media right now. Get with it. Okay, now this next section, I want you to pay attention. Okay, wake up if you're just listening here. The Offsite ads. So there are two types of ads on Etsy. I will explain these more in depth later on as well, but you will have your offsite ads and then you have this Etsy ads. So the Etsy ads are the ones that you pay for up front. So you pay a certain dollar amount per day that you pick. You can do like $1 or like I think up to 100. And those will show on Etsy. So if you have shops on Etsy yourself, you will see like ad by Etsy seller or sponsored by such and such. So those ads effectively just double your visibility in the search ranking and get you more views basically, but they don't guarantee that you're going to get sales. Again, I'll talk about that later on. There's a lot to it. So those will only be on if you choose to turn them on and whatever dollar amount that you choose to set for them. However, there is a separate thing called offsite ads. Offsite ads, like it says here, are where they're going to promote your items on Google, Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and Bing. Does anybody even use Bing? Whatever. But they pay the upfront cost to these platforms to advertise your listings, and then they take a cut when you make a sale. Which sounds good, right? But if you click on, what I click on to get to this, where it says see more info on your offsite ads, click on that. It says Etsy covers the upfront cost to promote your listings on high traffic sites, blah, blah, blah. You only pay the 15% advertising fee if you make a sale from these ads. So I suggest, this is my opinion, I suggest to turn them off because that's a lot. 15% is higher than the Etsy fee. Like the fee they take out when you make a sale, period. And then you have 15% on top of that. So if you want to go for this, I only get a handful of these sales, like maybe 1 or 2 a month. And once you reach a certain threshold of sales, you can't turn them off. They automatically come back on, but at that point, they lower the fee to a generous 12%. So if you make more than $10,000 in the past 365 days, then you cannot opt out. So I'm going to show you real quick how to do that, and then we'll go back to what we were discussing before. So go to settings on the left hand side and then offsite ads. And then you click down here to opt out. Okay, let's go back to the stats page. So under the offsite ads, it'll show you information about individual listings for whichever time period you selected above. And that is helpful to see which of your listings are getting the most views and so on. All right, now the next one is finances. So I will click on first one, payment account. So it says at the top, remember funds from your sales will be unavailable for deposit for 5 business days for security purposes. So basically why this is, a lot of people complain about this. There are scammers that use Etsy. So they don't want scammers getting, putting crap on here, selling it, and not cashing out and then not sending the stuff. So that's why they hold the money for a little bit. Or if you break the rules somehow, they could also put a hold on your funds. Then it will show you at the top the amount that you're going to pay, and then the amount that you have available for deposit. And then will show you your summary for the current month. So it'll show you your net profit, which is what you made after fees. And you can see a breakdown of individual sales and refunds, and you have listing fees, transaction fees, processing fees, marketing, which is going to be your Etsy ads or your Offsite ads if you have those on, and then how much you have paid for shipping labels and tax on the shipping labels. And right here under the sales, it will show you the sales tax amount paid by the buyer, but remitted afterwards. That means that Etsy collects and submits that to the appropriate tax authority for you. I would suggest to look up the rules for your particular state, but for my state, the one I live in now and one I've lived in previously, I did not have to touch the sales tax. But keep it in mind when you do your income taxes that the income from sales tax is not actually income. Once you add new listings, it will look like this, where it just subtracts 20 cents for the new listing. And then once you make a sale, it will show you the sale amount and the fees that came out and a running total. They have changed this in the past year or so. Thankfully, it is a lot easier to understand now than it used to be. We will discuss that later on as well, since I don't have anything to show you right here. So let's go on to the next one, monthly statements. So this is where you'll be able to select this drop down and view your monthly statements, or basically the fees and sales that you've made for certain months. And then your payment settings, this is where you can change your payment method or your billing information, address if you get a new bank account, so on and so forth. I also would strongly suggest to not use your personal bank account. Make at least a separate checking account for all of this. That way it's not confuzzled with your personal stuff and you can keep things separate. It's going to be a lot easier if you do that. Then they want you to sign up for Quickbooks for Etsy. So I am not an expert by any means in finances for Etsy, tax things like this anyways. I kind of know about, how to do pricing and the fees and all that, but as far as tax purposes, I'm not qualified to give information about that. I will link below to somebody who does know and specializes in Etsy, so I will leave his link in the description. Whether you choose to use QuickBooks or not, you do need to keep track of all of your finances, everything you buy for your shop, any sales you make off of Etsy, if you do things in person. Keep track of all of it and keep your receipts, just in case. And even if it is a hobby, it's still income. So the QuickBooks that I currently used is a self-employed tax bundle, and it's not $25. They charge me like $26.50, the sneaky turds. So that is an option if you want it, and QuickBooks Self-Employed will sync with Etsy to take your transactions so you don't have to input those. And then it will, it'll count your income from Etsy and then also deduct the fees and everything automatically. You just have to go back in and double check it because sometimes it makes mistakes. And the same thing right here with TurboTax for Etsy. It's Intuit, the same company. Then your legal and tax information. Let's see what this is. So if you make over $10,000, I believe they will send you a 1099-K at the end of the year for your taxes. So I will get one of those. If you need to change your address for some reason or switch from individual to business, then you can do that here. Additional taxpayer identification. I am honestly not sure what this is or when to use it, so I wouldn't touch it. And then government registrations. So the German Lucid identification number. I don't have this yet. I need to get on it for my shop, but basically Germany has a new law that you have to register with them in order to sell to Germany based on your packaging. They, from what I understand, in very, very simple layman's terms, Germany doesn't want you to send a bunch of junk packaging, so you have to register and tell them how much packaging you're sending. So a lot of sellers, especially if they're smaller and don't usually ship to Germany, just remove Germany from the countries that they ship to. But if you want to, then I would go through and obtain a Lucid ID. I'm not sure how to do that, so don't ask me. And then this France extended producer responsibility, I don't have this either. I'm not sure exactly what this is for. I actually haven't heard of it. Usually when they start doing stuff like this, Etsy will send you an email about it, but I have not had this, so let me look at this real quick, see if it's something I need to be concerned about. Oh, this is basically kind of the same situation as Germany, where they don't want you to just send a bunch of junk. As of January 2022, sellers offering products to France must comply with French EPR regulations. Packaging, electronic equipment, batteries, furniture, and textiles. So they want you to be responsible, which the US needs to do this. They just want you to be responsible for the things you sell and that they are recyclable and stuff like that. So it looks like they want you to also accept recycling of certain products, but they're only if you exceed a certain annual turnover of monetary threshold from selling relevant products. So this probably doesn't apply to you, to be honest, but this is here for you to read if you want to do so. Okay, then under that, it has your legal documents, so it will verify your ID. So this actually did verify me. I didn't show this on camera because it's personal information that I don't want you to see. But when I put in my social security number, it asked me those verifying questions like, which of these states have you lived in? Which of these persons have you previously lived with? Which college did you go to? Stuff like that. So that's how it verified my identity. If you are in Germany or for some reason you need a German VAT, you can add that here. VAT, if you do not know, if you're American, I have no clue, VAT is basically just their tax, like their import tax. It stands for value added tax, but I do not believe that you need this unless you are in Germany. I could be wrong, but Etsy collects and remits VAT to orders in the EU as well, so you don't need to worry about having a separate VAT identification for every country in the EU, because that would be ridiculous. Especially like if you're a big business, sure, but yeah, for a small business, that would be a little bit much. And then at the bottom, it will show you your 1099K settings. Oh, yeah, I was mistaken earlier. So it used to be 10,000, and now they changed it to 600. So if you make over $600 in gross sales in a calendar year, they will go ahead and send you a 1099K form, since you will need that to report to the IRS anyways. Okay, that was everything in the finances section. Now let's go down to marketing. So the first thing here is your search analytics. You won't have much information here for a while until you get a lot of views and sales and stuff. It doesn't even include Android data, which is a good majority of the traffic from Etsy. But once this is here, it will show you what things people are searching for and how much you got from that. Then you have Etsy ads. If you want to turn on the Etsy ads, again, this is the ones that you pay for up front, a certain dollar amount per day. So we'll talk about this later on more in depth in probably its own video. I might need to add that to the list if I haven't already. But if you are just starting out and haven't made any sales, I would strongly suggest not turning on these ads, because the long story short, Etsy ads only get you more views, but they don't guarantee that you're going to get more sales. So if you maybe have some mistakes or things that you could correct in your listings that are causing you to not get sales, then turning on ads is just going to waste your money because you're not converting anyways. And the next one is sales and discounts under the marketing section. So you can add a sale, you can do a promo codes to give out to people, and you can send out automatic offers. So you can do a thank you after their order ships. You can send a thank you coupon. You can do abandoned cart ones or ones for people who have favorited things. So this is really up to you, and I will again explain this more in detail in a future video. This is just where you can find it. Then if you click on social media under the marketing tab, so I don't use this personally. I just kind of make my own social media posts, but you can make social media posts out of this. Just if you make a habit of pushing your social media posts through this, it's only going to be pictures of your listings, and like if you get a 5-star review, you can share that you got a 5-star review, but I wouldn't post that kind of content personally. And I do have a previous video that's already posted all about using social media for your Etsy shop, so check that out if you have not already. Then this next one, custom web address, I wouldn't even go here. So basically, if you upgrade to the Etsy Plus subscription, which is a paid service, you have to pay every month for this Etsy Plus, which I honestly don't think it is worth it. But if you do that, you can get a custom website. But you can also do this if you go to Google Domains and buy a domain and have it redirect to your Etsy shop. And a Google domain is like $6 a month. Or $6 a year, sorry. $6 a year. $6 or $12 a year. something like that. It's not much. So the next tab is the integrations. So this is where you can find information or things to connect to your shop. So all the ones on here are like official and recognized by Etsy. There are other apps that do connect with it that aren't on here. So you can do things like claim your Etsy shop on Pinterest. I have used Aweber. I would suggest using Aweber for email marketing for your shop. Basically, when somebody makes an order, then they will get an email from Aweber asking if they would like to be added to your email list. And that is the only one that connects with Etsy so far. Out of these improve your listings, I have used eRank. I have also used Vela. The only one that I would suggest is Vela. You don't need it right away, but if you have a lot of listings later on in the future and you need to make bulk edits to things, or say you want to add the same photo to all of your listings, you can do it all at once on Vela. So that's kind of the only thing that I would use that for. Because some things you can bulk edit within Etsy without having to pay for Vela. It does say free, but it's not. Then of course you can connect your QuickBooks and stuff here. And then Square, if you want to sell in person like at craft shows, I would use Square, but I would not connect it to your Etsy shop, because if you use Square connected to your Etsy shop and you sell things in person, they charge you the listing fee, and that's not good. So I made that mistake at first, so you don't want to do that. The next thing is community and help. So this, where'd it go? This is where you can view things like forums or get help with things if you need help finding something. The seller handbook, again, I would suggest to take a look through that, maybe at the more recent articles, because some of the older ones are kind of eh. So then now for the settings tab. So the first one is your subscription. So this is like I was talking about before, the Etsy Plus, where they want you to pay for that and then you get a discounted domain. The Etsy Plus doesn't help, like it doesn't even pay for itself, so I wouldn't use that. Moving on. Your info and appearance is important. So we're getting to where you need to do things now, okay? However far we're into this video, now we're doing things. So info and appearance is where you will put a lot of important information. The first thing up here is your shop title. Remember one of the first few episodes of this series I did where I told you to describe your niche in a few words? This is where you would put that. I don't know why I'm pointing because you can't see this. This shop title is where you would put basically your niche. You want to make it pretty short though, like don't fill up this entire thing because it will get cut off. You want to be descriptive here and do not just repeat, like I would not just put Type 9 Studio, because that does not tell your buyer anything about your shop and what you sell. So whether that's like custom tie-dye t-shirts or vintage inspired jewelry, something like that is what you would put in the shop title. And then your shop icon is going to be basically your logo, but like I said in the video about branding, your logo, this is going to be very small, so be careful what you put here. So if you have a logo that's complex, or maybe it's going to be hard to see when it's, you know what like a social media profile picture or an Etsy shop logo is going to look like. They're so small, so you want to make sure that you have something that has a contrasting background and is condensed, I suppose, here, so people can recognize it. Because if you just, like if you take a photo and you write out your entire shop name, like if I put Type 9 Studio all on one line and try to cram it into this, not gonna work. So make it condensed somehow, kind of like if you're watching this on YouTube, I have like Type 9 Studio stacked up so you can see it a little better. Something, that's what I mean. I don't know why I'm over explaining this. Then you can add an order receipt banner if you want to. I don't think that really matters much. And then for your shop announcement, so if a customer is browsing your shop on a computer or desktop, they will see the shop announcement at the top of the page. But if they're on a phone, like the app, it doesn't show the announcement for some reason. So don't put anything like extremely important here in lieu of something like vacation mode or extending your processing time, because people probably won't see it, and even if they do see it, they probably won't pay attention to it. But it's still good to have something here, because as I was mentioning at the beginning of this video, your shop needs to be complete. So this counts for your shop being complete, having your announcement, your message to buyers, and other things that I'm going to talk about in a second. So your shop announcement could have something like free shipping over $35 if you choose to do so. Stay up to date with my new products by following me on social media, and you can put your handles or your URLs to your social media accounts. Stuff like that. I wouldn't put too much in here, just a little bit. And then I would fill out the message to buyers. You can just say, thanks for your order. Please message me if you have any questions. And you can also put your social media again there as well. And then if you have digital products, I'd fill out the message to buyers for digital items. Especially if you have digital items, explain like you're explaining it to a 5-year-old how to download the digital items. Okay, and then you have to click Save Your Changes down here. Don't forget to do that. Then at the top of the screen, there's another tab for shop name. So if you want to change your shop name, then you can do so, but you don't have to. So then the next tab is going to be the About Your Shop. So you can create your own profile. So you do want to have a profile picture here. And I would suggest to make this an actual photo of yourself to make it look more personable, like, you know, an actual person instead of just another logo. And then write a brief bio about yourself. And then another tab at the top here is story. Don't skip these, because again, this is part of your completeness of your shop that accounts for your quality score. So this will be shown at the bottom of your shop page. So if somebody goes to your shop URL and they scroll down, they're going to see your headline, your story, and then your photo or video if you add one, which I do strongly suggest that you do. So this whole section right here is an excellent place for you to connect with customers and make yourself stand out as an actual person selling things with their small business instead of just another faceless business money grabbing thing on the internet, which there is a lot of. So use this space to talk about your inspiration, how you got started doing your business. Has the thing you're selling been a family tradition somehow, or did your shop get you through rough times, like, or making your craft, something like that, to really connect with people. And remember, like I said about your target audience, make it resonate with your target audience as well. So talk about things like struggles or personal things. You don't have to get too deep, just something that would be relatable to your target audience. But I would not say something like, I just like to make things, because that's not good enough, sorry. And even if you don't have some super inspirational thing behind your shop, come here. Make one up. Then you can add a video and photos as well. Right here, I would suggest to do that. You could use photos of you making things, like you in your workspace doing something. And I would suggest for you to be in the photos, even if you don't show like your face necessarily, have a human in the photos. It'll help, trust me. And then all the way at the bottom here, you can add links. So this is the only place that you can really put a clickable link. It's like in your, like up here in the shop story or in your announcement section, the link isn't going to be clickable, but you can do that here. And you can add multiple of them. So you can put your Facebook, your Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, or if you have like a Shopify or something, you can put that here as well. And you are allowed to link to another website as long as your items are not cheaper on said website. A lot of people think you cannot do that, but you can. Then of course click save at the bottom or you will lose everything you just did. The next thing is the options. So this mostly is personal preference. So the first thing here asks if you want to set a custom order for your listings, and you can do that on your shop page down here, this little pencil. I will talk about that in a second. So if you want to do the custom order, or if you just want your visitors to see most recently listed, you can pick that one. And then you can choose whether or not you want people to be able to request a custom order. This will not stop people from messaging you and asking for a custom order, but you can choose to add this kind of button to your page. You can also offer gift wrapping and set the price for gift wrapping. You can enable gift messages. You can also enable translation of your listings. And there is a way on here to, if you are bilingual or have somebody that can actually translate your listings, then there's a place to do that as well. This next one though, the sold listings, I would click on no, hide them, for a number of reasons. This is like a free way for your competitors to spy on you and see what you have sold. So I would click no. And then also if you do like one-of-a-kind things, or maybe you have sold things before that you don't want people to see, like if you have changed niches or something. Sometimes people will go through your sold listings and see something that you have sold previously that you no longer sell. They will ask you about it, so if you want to avoid that, just click on No, Hide Them. And then of course you can change your time zone down here. Then up at the top, this is where you can turn on vacation mode if you want to. I have a whole video about this. I would discourage doing so if you can help it. If you go on vacation, I would just extend your processing time to have things ship when you return from vacation. But if you are going to be gone for an extended period of time, like more than a few weeks, like a family emergency or the hospital or something like that, that's when I would use this. Or if you get like incredibly slammed with orders, I would use this, but that's the only time. In web analytics, what is this? So if you want to use Google Analytics, I don't use this, so I wouldn't worry about it right now, but if you want to later on, this is where it is. I have used this tab in the past, very recently actually, for tax purposes. So you can, if you want to, say, get a Shopify or some other website later on, you can download a CSV, which is basically like an Excel file of all of your listings and the information about them, so you can upload that to something like Shopify. They have apps that help you do that, so you don't have to redo all of your listings over again. You can download them and upload them somewhere else. You can also download your orders in a CSV, so you can pick which month and year that you want to download. You can download everything from your shop here. You can also download your reviews, so if you do make a Shopify or something later on and you want to add reviews, they're not lost. You can download them from your Etsy. And then this tab up here, Close Shop, I'm not even going to click on it because I am afraid of doing this on accident. So if you do ever decide to close your shop for some reason, it is up here. Okay, your shipping settings. So this is something that you should get familiar with. I will talk about this in the shipping video later on, but this is where you can create a profile for your shipping. Basically, if you have similar items that are going to be like in the same size of package and you can ship them to the same places, or maybe you have some items that take longer to make than others, you can set different profiles to assign to different products. So say you have like group A of products that take 1 business day, and you have group B of products that take like 5 business days, you can have separate profiles for those. That way you don't have to fill it out every single time you make a new listing. And then you'll see up here at the top the free shipping guarantee. This is where you will turn on the free shipping over $35. And they do have tips to help you figure out how to update your prices to recover those shipping costs. I can explain how I do that in the shipping video. Your package preferences, you can save that if most of your things ship in a similar package style. And then rates and upgrades, this is important as well, so you can go ahead and check this if you're following along with me. I would strongly suggest to use the Etsy shipping label rates because they are much cheaper, and you can get first class shipping for up to 16 ounces with the Etsy shipping label rates, so I would definitely do that. And then the shipping upgrades, so you can add these if you want to, you don't have to. So for my shop, there are, well, for anybody really, there are different, so if you use USPS, there are different services, like first class is going to be for things under 16 ounces, and it is a little bit slower. You can upgrade to priority to make it a little bit faster, although I think it's negligible in my opinion, just from what I've seen from shipping thousands of orders. Or the customer can opt in to priority if on something under 16 ounces, or if it's over 16, then they have to pick priority. It costs a little bit more. There's also Priority Express that will be like 2-day guaranteed or something, and that costs like $20 some minimum. So you can allow people to choose those if they want, but sometimes people don't recognize that that doesn't mean your processing time is faster. So, you know, just kind of keep that in the back of your head. I wouldn't dwell on it too much. And then the next thing is your policy settings. So this is where you can set your return and exchange policy, and this is up to you. However, if you do ship to the EU, I believe you are required to allow returns and exchanges. You also need to set up a cancellation policy. Again, this is all part of like your shop being complete, so I think it actually won't even let you post a listing if you don't have these policies. But you can set up your cancellation policy. You can not allow cancellations. You can have them cancel within an hour, which is what I do. I've gotten a lot of orders recently where they like do it on accident and they want to cancel like right away. Like maybe they are trying to check out from one shop, but they have items from multiple shops in their cart and don't realize it, and they need to cancel mine. So I allow that within an hour, although I do stretch that a bit, but it's up to you if you want to allow them to cancel, because sometimes I do ship like the same day, so that's why I have it to only an hour, because if they try to cancel after I ship, then can't do that. And then this is where you can add your privacy policy. So if you do ship to the EU, again, you have to have a privacy policy. They have one that you can copy and paste into here and just change your information in that privacy policy, so I would just do that if it were me doing this again. Then your fixed policies, these are just shown on your shop for everybody, so you don't really have to do anything here. But if you click on this estimated delivery dates, it'll bring you to an article that explains what that means, because Etsy, thankfully, after the 2020 disaster with shipping, they have added an estimated delivery date on every single listing. No matter if you browse on the app or on desktop, it will tell the buyer exactly when to expect the order, and it is pretty accurate from my experience. And they take information from the buyer's zip code and your zip code that you're shipping from, and like figure out exactly when they should expect the item. So that is very helpful. And then this text displays on all of your listings as well that buyers are responsible for any customs and import taxes, and that the seller is not responsible for delays due to customs. So you can't edit this, it's just there for you to read. And then don't skip this one, production partners, especially if you are print on demand. So it is required based on their policy to disclose if you use someone else's services to produce your items. So for my shop, for example, I don't do print on demand, but I have certain products that I use components that I didn't make. So I have these reusable like straw pouches and spork pouches. I don't make metal straws. I'm not a metal fabricator. I don't make bamboo sporks. I'm not a wood carver. So I make the pouch part, and then I source the straws and sporks from somebody else, and I list them as a production partner. You do not have to, actually it hides, like you can pick what it shows, so I'm not going to put the name of my supplier on there, but it will allow you to say just like a straw manufacturer or a spork manufacturer. But if you do print on demand, you can add Printify or Printful or whatever you use as your production partner, and you would say what they do, and you have to put where they are located as well. But you do not have to put your suppliers for your materials. So like I would not have to put Spoonflower or Joann's for my fabric, because they are not technically a production partner. Or if you have somebody else that designs your products and you make them, or like you buy the designs from somebody else, then that's where you would put it. It's just transparency is really all it is. Then we already visited this offsite ads, so I have already turned mine off. So if you haven't done that already, you can do that here. Then we have languages. This is where you would put, like I was mentioning earlier, if you are bilingual or know somebody that is, that can help you out with this. So this is where you can manually translate your shop and your listings. Because if you just pick the automatically translated option, it's not really going to make a whole lot of sense, as I'm sure you know, with things that are like auto-translated. So this is where you can do it correctly. But you don't have to go into Google Translate and do this for other languages, because it'll do basically the same thing automatically. But if you are fluent in another language, here you go. Then if you want to use Facebook shops on Facebook and Instagram, this is where you can connect them. I don't use this, but it's there if you want to do it. All right, then down here you have your shop name, and we're going to click on this little pencil. So this is going to be very blank. Again, this is what you're going to see when you first create your shop. So up here is where you will add your banner. You can do a mini banner or a big banner. It doesn't particularly matter. I wouldn't do a big banner if it's not helpful. Like, don't do a big banner or any banner really with just your shop name. Like, you somehow use it to show off your aesthetic of your shop and your listings and stuff. Just don't. If you're only going to put your shop name or your logo, don't bother. You can add your location, so I would be vague with this. I wouldn't put like your exact city, but you can put like your state or country that you're in, because buyers can also choose to filter their search results by local shops. So like I'm in Georgia, I can choose to filter my search results by shops that are in Georgia. And that actually works, by the way. I have had quite a few people message me or like leave a message with their order saying that they chose my shop because I am local. You can highlight up to 4 listings here. You can do that through your listings tab and click on the little star beneath of it. You also add sections of your items. They will show up here. I'm sure you know all this stuff if you've shopped on Etsy and looked at somebody else's shop. And it'll have a place for you to update your shop announcement from here if you want to, or you can do it from the settings. It doesn't matter. And under that, it will show your shop updates. So I use this on the Sell on Etsy app. Basically what you can do with this is take a photo that's not necessarily your listing photo. So if I have like a new collection of things, or I offer things in a new print, I will take a family photo of them, family photo quote unquote, and share that here and say, hey, I have this new print available in such and such products, and you can link to one of the listings in there. So this is a good way to show off your things and kind of like you can write things there. It's kind of like a little bitty social media feed. And then this is your story. So this is going to be the same if you add it through the settings or right here. So then under that is going to be your personal bio, and then your policies will be shown there. So you want to make sure you fill those out. Basically everything that I'm showing you on this shop page needs to be filled, like non-negotiable has to be filled out, because that counts towards your quality score, which I have explained in a previous video, but basically your listings won't get much traction at all if you don't have this stuff filled out. So just letting you know. Because your shop is not complete, and it makes it look more like you're serious and professional if it is filled out. So one thing that was not in the settings to fill out is going to be your FAQs right here. So if you click on add an FAQ, they have some suggestions for you to fill out, or you can do a custom one. So you can pick this custom personalized orders, and you can write if you do or do not offer custom orders, and if you do, then let them know how they can request one, or the different types of things that you can customize. Do your sizing, care instructions, gift wrapping, wholesale, and then as you get more experience, or you've been on Etsy for a bit longer, you'll start to notice what people ask you, like when they message you, so you can add those things into your FAQs. And then the seller details, fill this out if you are selling to the EU. Then also when you click on this little pencil down here, like I mentioned before with the option to customize the order of your listings, you can customize that here. So if you want to move them around and have certain things at the top and organize them in a certain way, then you can do that through this little pencil icon right here, which is where we are now. I just don't have anything there because, again, I just opened this and don't have any listings. And a few more things here. So the want your own website thing, don't do this. Don't bother. Trust me, don't do it. Because this is still subject to Etsy fees, and just make a Shopify. Don't use Pattern. Okay, you'll thank me later. And then the sell in person, find out how with Square, like I mentioned before. Don't, I would strongly suggest to use Square. It is a good platform to use if you're selling things in person, like at craft shows or whatever, but don't connect it to your Etsy shop unless you want to pay fees, which I'm sure you don't. You do have the payment fee, like the 3 point whatever something percent with, you know, the regular credit card processing fee with Square, but you still have to pay the Etsy fee, which it does. Like my very first craft show, I did this and I had it connected, and it boosted my sale count, because you can pick, like if you go into the Square app on your phone and it is connected to Etsy, you can pick from your inventory, which was nice because I didn't have to worry about like overselling something, you know, but it also counted towards my total number of sales. So up here, if you view your shop, it'll show how many sales and how many reviews you have at the top, and that boosted that number. However, I had to pay the fees, so I don't think it was worth it in the long run. So if you view your shop, then this is what it's going to look like if you have nothing there. So for the next video, we're going to be talking about adding your listing. So I did skip over that in this video because I didn't want to waste more time in this because this is long enough already. But we're going to go through step by step of the listing page. Where is that? So we're going to go through this, adding a new listing step by step, what you should do. And it's going to be several videos. So I'm going to be pretty in depth about how to do this, and hopefully that will help you to make better listings and how to do your SEO and all that stuff as we go along. So stay tuned for those, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.